Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We're excited for being here today with you, and we are live with co-working here at Red Worldwide. And this is a very exciting time for us because we are in expectation of a lot of new things. And so today we have our new software. We're going through training as we speak. And so if we have a few things that don't work exactly the way they're supposed to, just bear with us because we're getting the best possible training that we can. We are here today, coming live from Northern California. And so, which is an exciting thing today. We'll be speaking over in Brentwood. And so, with that said, we have some opportunities that have been afforded us. And as we are taking advantage of each one of those, we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward and we offer the best possible trainings, the best possible um, uh, tools and educational materials to all of those that are a part of Red Worldwide and those who are an extension of us. So we've made some changes to our schedule. I know that usually on Mondays we do our Smarter Start boot camp, and on Tuesdays we talk about legacy. So we've extended our Tuesdays to speak more about all areas of value building, and legacy is just one of those things that is a part of what we do when we're building value. But we want to make sure that you understand that it is our determined purpose to bring to you lots of different concepts and ideas that will help you to do business better. And one of those such things is the concept of being able to build value in your company, build value within yourself. We've talked about there being drivers of business value, where there's also drivers of personal value and professional value. And so we are going to talk about those drivers because it's so important for you to have something that motivates you, that moves you to do the things you do. But there's also important things that you need to have that you look at as pillars in your business and pillars in things that you are doing for yourself so that you can make things happen, And with that said, we are bringing those things to you. And so today we're going to be talking about one aspect of value building because of the fact that we have clients who are currently in a position where they maybe want to sell their company, or they're building their company so they can sell the company. And with that said, we have to help them learn how to build it properly from the very onset. If your end game is to build a company that you're going to pass on to your children or the next set of managers, or that you're going to sell, even if you're going to chairman the board still, you want to have certain things in place. And so with that said, we have a little bit of an agenda today. And so we'll jump right into our agenda. We're going to first talk about a study that was done. And that study actually will bring us good information that will help us to better build value in the company so that it is something worth selling or something worth giving to someone if you're passing it down to your children, or if you're passing it down to the next set of managers in the company. If you are building the company to make sure that the people who are working with you end up with a, percentage of value, you're giving away stock, or, in some way you're providing for them to have shares. And you want to make sure that what it is that you're giving them a share of is worth what it could possibly be worth. I mean, the optimal value that is in it. So we're going to look at that. Then we're going to look at, the reasons why people exit their businesses. We did a session some time back called the Freedom Workshop. And in the Freedom Workshop, we talked about this, that there were many reasons why a person might exit the business, and how you enter the business, really needs to be something that you pay attention to from the end game. In other words, I'm going to enter my business a certain way if I'm planning to sell it, or if I'm planning to pass it down. I might enter it a different way. The preparation that I might make in looking at what my end game is might be very, very different. And so we'll talk about preparation and value and what those two things have to do with each other. And then we'll talk about how you can take action. Okay. And so with that said, let's look at a couple of questions, that you might be wanting to ask yourself before you exit your business. And again, you might be in a service-based business or a nonprofit. Even then, you still have to have a succession plan. And so when we are looking at these two questions that we want to ask before you exit your business, is your business ready to sell? Is it ready to pass down? Is it ready, for someone to succeed you? Have you prepared things in such a way that it makes an easy transition? Have you done all the things necessary to increase the value in every area that you can? Okay, so we'll look at a couple of those ideas of what you can do or what you should do in a little bit. And then the other thing is, are you personally ready to exit? I talk about this because I know that in the past, I was working with different types of clients. I've worked with people who really thought, okay, I want to sell. I want you to get me ready to sell, get the value of the company up. I'm ready to turn this thing over. And then they get to a certain point and they realize, ooh, I thought I was ready to sell. Okay. I thought that I was really ready to move, to another existence in my life. And, this company has been tying me down and I need some freedom and I need some more of my time back. And then we got everything ready to go. And they saw what the value was in their company and they realized, you know what? I don't think I'm ready to sell. I think that this is something that I want to do long term and I want to keep my company, And so when you're looking at things from that perspective, where you see all of what you've done, and as we go through and we're working together, and we are positioning you to better take that leap back into your next, okay, if I can say it that way, or whether it's to buy another company or to build another company or to retire and travel the world, you have to transfer yourself right back through all of the things that you did to build this wonderful company. And sometimes you get there and you're like, oh my God. So you have to look at, are you personally ready to exit? Have you really thought it through? Have you prepared everything, for you to make an exit? Can you afford, to live your life on your terms now? And I don't mean financially. I mean, there's some other things that would need to be in place, for you to make that leap. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit today. All right. So let's, go forward. I am a Value Builder certified business advisor, and I've been one since 2019. But back in 2017 was when the Value Builder system had their first ever summit. It was a conference, and that's where value builders who are, these business advisors who have been trained specifically to help people build value in the company, we come together once a year and we get a lot of, concentrated, focused knowledge about what it is that we do and what it is that we need to be doing for the clients that we serve and how we can do it better. Best practices. We go back over what the metrics have been over the year and what value builders worldwide have been able to do for business owners and aspiring business owners. So, when we are looking at these summits, I just think about all the little things that I have been able to pick up over the years. Well, in 2017, before my time, there was a summit in which Bo Burlingham, this gentleman that you see here on my screen, he was the keynote speaker. And He was the one who wrote the book. Some of you might have read it, The Great Game of Business with Jack Stack. Small Giants is another one of the books that he's written. And then the latest book that he's written is called Finish Big. And it's a quote from Finish Big that, I want to read, and I want us to spend some time on here because I think that it could be very, very important to, our discussion as we kind of go forward today. And that quote literally says, many owners who have sold find themselves dealing with unanticipated regret, fighting with depression, and desperately in need of a new identity and a sense of purpose. And it's true. Just as I was sharing a few minutes ago, some people who exit their business, they really thought they were going to be ready, and they did all of the things to prepare, and then they get there, and it's like, oops, I didn't realize this was going to mean that, and they have feelings, about it, So most business owners, they regret their exit 1 year after leaving. I mean, it's like, this thing that goes off in them, and it's like, man, did I do the right thing? I mean, and that number is, at about 75%. So, when we're looking at it, that's a lot of people who regret it. And in the Finish Big book, Bo talks about the emotional toll that exiting can take on a person, who is an owner that has sold, which kind of underscores the trend reported by PwC and EPI. 1 year after their exit, 75% of the owners say they regretted leaving their companies. Just 5% ended up happy with their proceeds from their sale. And our goal is to be the business owner's Robin Hood, okay, if I can say it that way. And if 3 in 4 are unhappy after exiting, no matter how valuable their business is, we really haven't done our job. As a value builder, business advisor, it is important to me that people are happy with their decision. Actually happy. And I mean that from in all sense of the word, they're happy with the amount of money that they got from the sale, and they're happy about their life going forward. When an owner, really is looking at, exiting their company or having exited their company, they have to kind of look at their personal readiness. And so here it says, but can an owner's personal readiness to exit be tied to their value of the business? And it sometimes is tied to that, where they're just concerned that they did not get enough money from that sale. And so there's some new research, and I'm going to make that book available. It's an ebook called The Overlooked Owner, a key factor in determining value. Okay. And so we're going to take a picture of this particular area and, a snapshot of it, and to put it up here today. But I want you to get the ebook. And so, I want you to reach out to me if you would like to have this ebook, because I think it's really important for you to get it, and I'll make some things available in the comments section of our YouTube so that you can make sure that you can download the book. If some of you guys are able to see, there's a QR code on the screen right now. You can actually use that QR code to get to our website, and this book will be available on our site this afternoon. So you'll be able to go there and scroll all the way down to the section where we give away ebooks. And some of you guys already know that section because you've taken advantage of our free ebooks, and you can gain access to 3 new ebooks today. But this is one of those 3. The most overlooked aspects of determining business value are often the owner and their intentions, specifically the number of owners, the reasons for exit, and the steps taken to prepare the business for exit. And based on the analysis of about 1,511 business owners and their companies, the owner's personal reason for exit and their actions they personally took play a significant part the role that it plays is unexcusable. I mean, you have to understand that if a person sold the company because it was under duress, they had health issues or something else that happened that had to dictate the sale, and they were not able to prepare well, they are often in the level of regret because they don't feel like they got out of the company what they put into the company or what they desired and deserved, or some people were looking to get out of the company more than they put into it. And so some of those people especially are disappointed when they don't get the number in the sale. When comparing two similar businesses in the same geography and industry and of a similar size, if each owner has different reasons for exiting, they will likely have drastically different business values. Other factors that can impact the value of the business include the owner's steps that they took, as I stated, and the proportion of shares that the person has. When added up, these factors can predict up to 53% of the difference in the value. And so I really wanted you to think about this, that these factors are similar to what people go through when they go to bid on a set of services that they're going to provide to someone, and they find out that they didn't get the bid, or for that matter, some people get the bid and then they find out how much it really costs for them to do the work, and they didn't realize that it was going to be that much money. Okay. That, it was going to take the cost of goods sold. They underaccounted for some things. I see this happen sometimes too when people get grants. They'll get a business grant and they really are looking at doing a certain thing in their business, and they find out that the funds that they got still did not represent everything that they needed to be able to do that business well enough, at the time, because they kind of under accounted for how much they were going to have to put in. So a lot of factors go into these kinds of things. And in this particular situation, these factors that are going into the research will show us, why people feel the way they feel about certain things in the business. So let's take a look at this, okay? 1,511 businesses were interviewed in the study. And what we found is that the findings, that we drew out of that study predicted about 53% of the difference, even though the businesses seemed very, very similar. Okay. All right. So let's look at some of the owners' reasons for exiting. 100% of business owners exit their businesses, either by design or by default. I mean, let's just be real about it. You're not going to live forever. Okay. And if you've prepared your business to be able to transcend you, then it will, go on to do great things, of course, but you will not be at the helm forever. So we can bucket these reasons into three categories that play a role in the value of a business. Okay, let's look at the reasons here. So, if an owner is personally motivated to move on to the next chapter of their life, the value of their business is going to be higher. We see this. This could be tied to the fact that the owner has met the goals they set out for themselves and their business. Personal motivators represented 30% of an owner's reason to exit their business. And I want you to understand that, looking to diversify my wealth is a really good motivator for a lot of people. I have one client who was planning to sell his business, and his thing was, I need to be able to take some of the money that I've got in this company and spread it out among some other, endeavors that I have. Then some other people are like, what, I've done this a really long time. I just need to get my cash out and move, okay, so that I can do other really good things in my life. I have some other things that I see, or I have a new business that I want to start. That's also a high motivator for a lot of people. They've been looking at, starting a business, and um, know that they can start it really well with some of the cash that they have accumulated in the company that they have been running. And so they want to sell it so they have the ability to move forward with that. I'd like to get involved in philanthropy. That is a huge motivator, especially for some of the people that I have come across, that now this may not be, indicated in the study, but in some of my own annotations, I have been able to notice that people, as they get older, they don't want to work as hard. And sometimes they have to work really hard to innovate and iterate inside of the company. And even if they have hired people to do some of those things, what they're finding is that they can move forward easier, when they have structured things, to give them a cash payout so that they can begin to infuse some of that capital in their goodwill activities, things that they really want to do for others. Okay. So when we look at these particular motivating factors and see their relationship that they have to business value, it's very high. Okay. As you can see on our little scale here, it is really high. So let's kind of take stock of that and, pay attention that value increases in proportion to personal motivation to move on. As we're kind of taking a look at the scale, that it is something that people are thinking about most often when they decide that they want to exit. As you can imagine, during a personal crisis, though, we do not often operate at our best. Okay. And I'm seeing that with a couple of people that we're working with right now. They're at their end stage of life, and they want to exit before they're too sick to really help the new owners or the new set of managers make the company what they intended for it to be. And so even though they have placed some high focus on preparing, they really know that this personal crisis that they're in right now it's causing them operational inefficiencies. And so they have to, make a change before things are, too bad. There are some people also who are just burned out. The business that they are in is requiring a lot more of them than they really were intending or expecting. And they just want to walk. Okay. But they want to walk, of course, with as much cash as possible. But they really want to walk. And so as I was stating, people who have health issues are some of those that are having some challenges that will require them to leave. Some people are stressed and time starved, like I talked about in the Freedom Workshop. They want their time and their freedom back. Okay. They just are there, and personal crises do represent about 42% of an owner's reason for leaving. Having these kinds of issues, will really cause people to make a switch sometimes before the company is really ready for them to do so, because they didn't necessarily have the forethought or the expertise or the manpower or even the training to leave on their terms. And so because it was has the most negative effect on value, you'll see it at the lower end of the scale, right there at between orange and red, in terms of its relationship with business value. And then there are the people who have personally peaked. I love these, when the owner feels that they have reached as much as they possibly can offer in this company. And they feel like they need to move on to something that better fulfills them, then they, want to exit, for that reason. Okay. Personally peaked people represent about 28% of the owner's reasons to exit. Okay. And so as far as reasons are concerned, I want to spend time on a hobby. I'm just bored. Okay. I don't know if you've ever heard somebody say that. I'm bored in my business. I want to travel more. I want to focus on my health. I want to really get healthy and do some things that I haven't been able to do while running this company. So that's the third reason, and the relationship to business value is kind of in the middle here. And so we see that as something that people are, really they're serious about, and they're serious about it, on a level that got them on the scale. Okay, so it has an effect on business value, but it's kind of neutral in terms of the relationship with the business value in the 1,511 people that were interviewed. So the role each category played, let's kind of take a look at that. I think that's really important for us to see. The 42%, being people who were in personal crises, the personal motivators being 30%, and the 28% being personally peaked, meaning that they've reached their, the highest level that they feel like they can go in the business, and they're ready to do something new. So as we're thinking about the preparation for exit, it's only the first step in a series of critical decisions that an owner must make. And how an owner prepares themselves and the business for exit also plays a role in determining the company's value. We analyze the following areas of an owner's preparation to exit: and owners' personal financial goals, their personal life, and their social goals, involvement after the business exits, and employees' well-being, the ownership structure. All of those things were looked at in the study, and how an owner approaches each of these 5 areas will definitely have an impact on the company's value. And so I want us to take a look at that right now. Many business owners, they talk about their business like it's one of their kids, maybe even the favorite kid. They ask virtually all parents, and they will state that they can't assign a value to their kids. Similarly, some owners believe that their business is invaluable. Okay, they think that of the highest number they will get offered for the business rather than the lowest that they are likely to accept. Okay, when they're thinking about selling the company. And it's one of those things that, it amazes me, because when we are at a place where we have to sell the business or pass it on to the next set of owners, whether that be our children or the employees, we define a minimum number as the lowest number a business owner will accept to exit the company with no future regrets. That's how we do it, because we really want them to understand that if they're passing it on to their kids and their kids are buying them out, it may be, that the lowest number is going to be the likely number. Also, if they're passing it on to the next set of, people who are working with them, that also may be the case. Okay. But interestingly enough, the owner does not have to verify if their minimum number is accurate to have a more valuable business. The simple act of thinking about the number appears to help the owner prepare for the exit and have a more valuable company. So in looking at this minimum number, there are a lot of things that are going to go into it, and we'll talk about that. But owners who have thought about their minimum number build a business that's up to 6% more valuable. And if you're thinking about the number soon enough, it can help you to have a better perspective, okay? And to have more fulfillment in the sale, or if you're passing the company down, it just gives you a better feeling about it, okay? When you walk away. 40%, these are the personal financial goals here. Owners have already locked down their minimum number, and 60%, right? And so we want to take a look at what that really means to a person. 40% of the people, have not, or I should say 61% of the people have not received a value estimate in the last 2 years. They haven't done a valuation of any sort. And it's really important for you to be able to understand, realistically what your company is worth. And that's a very important thing. But if you've thought about your minimum number to build the value, you're 5 to 6% more valuable on average. Okay, you're going to be 5 to 6% more valuable than the next person that's out there trying to sell their company. So we know a lot of that it is for a lot of owners who spend a massive amount of time tied to their business, with almost 75% of owners reporting that they still work a 40-plus-hour work week. Matter of fact, I know personally of some of the owners that I've been working with that when I first started working with them, on average, most of them are spending like 60 hours, okay, in their businesses. And we got to understand that work-life balance is important. And that is one of the main reasons why people have a difficult time, in the sell of the business, because of the fact that they don't have this balance. And the need for them in their business, okay, is quite apparent, at least their perceived need is there. They feel like that if they're not there, the company can't run. And so with so many hours in a business, an owner's identity can become tied to the company. Many owners will ask themselves these questions, and they don't do it in a way that is relevant to the business value, but they do it in a way that is relative to their personal feelings. If can my business operate if I'm not here? Or do I have somebody that I can really count on to do everything that I would want done if I weren't here? So many owners will also begin to develop personal relationships with their employees. Business owners who are aware of how their exit will impact their social circle appear to have a slightly more valuable business. And this is a real positive metric. It's important, that they have the relationships that they have, because especially if they are looking to sell the company and the employees are going to stay with the company, it's important for them to know that they made a good decision on who the buyer is, and that's a very interesting set of metrics that you want to take a look at. Mostly people, from my work, nobody from my work, and some people from my work. These were the questions that were asked of the owners. And 8 in 10 owners mixed their work and life with their social life. And 66% have their social circle as some of the people from their work. Okay. And I know for us, we are very involved with the people that are involved with Red Worldwide, and other people that we have worked with that have similar organizations like ours. They have the same kind of setup, that they are invested in the people that are working with them, but they're also vested in the people that they serve as well. So this is a really good way to understand that when you are, bringing in your social circles and working with these people outside of the business, it does help you to build a more valuable company. Many owners think that the exit's going to be simple, like selling a house. They'll hand over the keys and get a bag of cash in return, and I hear my kids using this particular terminology. I'm going to get that bag. Okay. Well, a lot of owners are looking at their business like that when they put the business up for sale, it's going to sell within a couple of weeks, or, and some are more realistic, but for the most part, they really feel like it's going to be a fast sell. But exiting a business is very different than selling a house. And let me just help you to understand that the more an owner is willing to remain involved in the business after the exit, and some people call that an earn out, or they have other terminology for it, but the more valuable a company tends to be, or appears to be. Even if you don't have to do it, the willingness to stay there, to train the new set of managers, to train the new owners, that option helps to make a company 5% more valuable. there seems to be a premium paid by the buyer if the owner is willing to stay involved through the transition period. So let's kind of look at some of these metrics, okay? The liquidating business value of assets, okay, 9%, okay. When we're looking at this, I want us to really understand the context here. Transition of the ownership to a children, when you're involved after the exit, that is a 17%, of more valuable concept for people, percent of exit options chosen by owners. Selling the business and continue running it is 35%. And I know that might seem like a lot of people to you, but many people are like, look, I don't want to stop working. I just don't want to own the company anymore. I need my cash out of the company so I can do other things. And so that 35% is a really high number. And if you think about it, it makes sense for some people that they are able to get the cash that they put in plus the profit, from their intellectual property involvement and all of the things that they did to make the company what it is, and continue running the company and do other things as well. Okay, 36% want to transition it over to their team, and that is a very high number as well. Training the next set of managers, passing the company on to people who have been involved in helping you to run the company, giving them a percentage of ownership. That's a really, big deal for a lot of people. And then hiring a leader to run it. Okay, 40%. 40%. Okay. And so it's kind of a thing where, this is becoming a real new way of doing business, to actually start a company, have it, set up the way that you want, hire in somebody to run it, and then you continue to do the other things that you like doing. But 84% of the people do sell their companies outright. Okay, they sell it and they just want out and they want what they put into it. 30% chose only one option. Okay, only one option. And so that's a really interesting thing, when we're looking at this, that these particular concepts, are really important, but the selling of a company outright are, 84% are of the people who sold their company outright were still involved in it after their exit. An owner who is willing to accept any option beyond handing over the business and walking away will have 4 to 5% more value that they're able to extract out of their company. Okay, so parents holding their newborns often wonder about their baby's future life, their career, their family, their personal goals. They may wonder how their parenting will impact the lives of their kids. Similarly, some business owners wonder how the buyer will treat their employees after they exit. As we know, 8 out of 10 owners are mixing business and pleasure with their employees. So this is a step an owner needs to think through. Some owners may plan how they will thank their employees, while others will take steps to negotiate with the buyer to look after their employees. Having a plan and thinking through the employees' well-being appears to be a 21% increase in the business value, regardless of if they have shared their exit plans with their employees or not. And this is another thing. A lot of owners don't necessarily tell their employees that they're going to sell, and so, but it's not that they don't necessarily want to make sure that their employees are well taken care of, because, as we're looking here, the employees' well-being, 18% of companies are, not necessarily thinking that through. Okay. But when we're looking at these other owners, 31% have a plan for thanking their employees, 33% have a plan for how and when they will tell them, and 46% said, I know which employees will be involved in the exit. And 52%, were really feeling like it was important to them that the person who acquired the business agreed to keep most of the employees. So having a plan and thinking through the employees their well-being appears to lead to a 17 to 21% increase in the business value, regardless of if they have shared their exit plans with their employee, because they prepare differently if they're going to want to make sure their employees are taken care of. Okay, so let's look at some ownership structure things. The fewer shares the majority owner holds, the more value the business has. Okay, and so this is just what the study found. Businesses with more than one owner appear to be 6% more valuable. And the value of a company appears to be 10 to 12% higher when there is no shareholder that owns more than 50% or more of the business. There could be many reasons for a higher value when there are multiple owners, and we want to look at that. But one of them might conclude that business owners that control 100% of the company are accountable only to themselves. And I want you to think about when a person has a company that they are 100% of the owner, they basically run it the way they want, and they don't involve a lot of people in their decisions a lot of the time. I see some business owners who have advisory boards and they do focus groups and things of that nature. But for the most part, their accountability is to themselves, unless they're running a service-based organization or nonprofit or some other entity that has a board that does weigh in, and it's a functioning board on what's being done. Alternatively, though, with more opinions freely expressed when deciding the future of the company, the better the business operations and the higher the value of the company. More research would have been done to understand this relationship, and it's out of the scope of this paper. But I want you to know that, this has some, I think it holds some weight personally. The companies tend to be higher when there's multiple shareholders or stakeholders in a company, or people that have, more beneficial interest in the company. When they're when the top people with the beneficial owners hold less than 50% of the business, and it's more of them, then it seems to increase the value. Okay. So as we're looking at this, remember that 10 to 12% higher value, when there is no shareholder that owns more than half the company, that can kind of, help you to really see some things. And even if you are a person that owns more of the company, you can run your company or structure your company in such a way that you would have that, ability to take advantage of, how, if I had a shareholder or a stakeholder or someone else that had beneficial interest in the company, how would I do things differently? As business owners prepare for exits, how they approach these 4 areas can drastically impact the business value. If all 4 areas are addressed effectively, owners can expect a 36% increase in the value of their business. That is a huge amount. Okay. Looking at the ownership structure, accounting for 10 to 12%, and the employee well-being, or the concern for employee well-being, accounting for 17 to 21%, and involvement after the exit, accounting for 4 to 5%, and then their personal financial goals, accounting to 5 to 6%. That is a 36% increase that you can expect to get from the sale of the company if you're just paying attention to those few things. So how do you take action? Well, while a business owners may never know when a personal crisis will strike or if desires will change, or they should be ready for exit. And so some of you have been on here with us many, many times, and you've heard me talk about backwards business planning, looking at your end goal and coursing your path back to your day one. We want to be thinking about that type of planning when we're looking at these 4 things. Okay. So we're going to look at these 4 suggestions that any business owner can start with today, regardless of when you're looking to exit, whether 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years from now. You might want to take an annual day of reflection to consider these following things. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Consider your next chapter. What will your professional life entail? Will it include starting another business, consulting, investing, retiring, or something else? What will you do in your next chapter to give your life a sense of purpose? What kind of lifestyle do you aspire to have? What relationships will you invest more in? What hobbies and interests will you indulge in? Know a minimum number. I mean, come up with a number. If you're going to sell your company, what's the minimum amount of money you want to garner from the selling of the shares of your company or selling of the company itself? If it's an LLC, selling of your beneficial interest, your ownership stake, what is that minimum number look like for you? If you're selling it to your children, what does the minimum number look like for you? If you are passing it along to the children and there's no money that's going to ever change hands, what do you want the company to be worth when you make that transition? If you're selling it to your employees, what is that minimum number? You can answer the Value Builder questionnaire, which is on our website at the top, the very, very top. It says build value in the menu section. You can take a picture of that QR code there with your camera, scan it, and it'll pull up our website, and go to the top and take the questionnaire, because it's really important for you to kind of understand approximately what your business is worth. We also have a value calculator on our website. And if you just want to try to see, you already taken the questionnaire, but you want to kind of get an estimate of value, you can do that using that, calculator that's on our site. It's, very important, for you to take that next step, to get an estimate of value, okay, for your company. And then number 3, imagine your exit. What will it look like? Are you willing to stay on as a consultant? Will you assume a minority ownership role? Do you prefer to stay on as an operator with the majority role? These are all questions, again, looking at that end result and coursing your path back to day one. How do you, imagine yourself walking away from the company? Okay, are you going to do this until you can't do it anymore? These are things that you want to be thinking about. And what is the best way, for you to exit that company? Okay. So think about your employees. Beside each name, check off if you want to include them in helping you to get the business ready to exit. Determine how you want to thank your employee for helping you achieve your exit. It could be, through employee stock options or a monetary amount that you give them, a severance pay or something of that nature if they're no longer going to stay with the company. Decide how and when you will tell them about your decision to exit, and decide whether their future employment, or if they're a contractor, their future connection to the company is necessary to include in your exit plan. These are all really, really good things. And, I know that, these are questions that you probably have thought about, when you were thinking about the exit and what your end game was going to look like at some point. But I want you to be thinking about this now, because it's so important for you to make a conscious effort, to get the value out of the company that you desired and deserve. You are the reason why the company exists. And so you want to make sure that whatever it is that you have planned, in your heart and mind, is what it is that you will be able to achieve. And so remember, 100% of people are going to exit their company one day. How you do it is something that you need to be concerned about, and you need to make sure that those who are in your plans, for the exit, are able to receive what it is that you intended for them to receive when the exit occurs. results. This has been Patience Rose with Co-working Live at Red Worldwide. Thank you so much for joining us, and we just look forward to your being with us again tomorrow, because we will be here tomorrow afternoon, and we are expecting that we are able to do some tech stuff, because it's Tech Thursday tomorrow, and we expect that you'll be able to be with us, so you'll have an opportunity to share.